All right, what if I told you that some of the deadliest assassins on the planet are totally invisible? Seriously. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of bioinsecticides. These are nature's very own microscopic secret weapons.
And this really gets to one of the biggest challenges we're facing, right? I mean, how do you fight the pests that are trying to eat our food supply without, wrecking the planet in the process? It feels like this impossible balancing act. But what if the answer has been right under our noses this whole time?
Okay, so to really get our heads around the solution, we first have to talk about the problem. And for modern farming, that problem, well, it pretty much boils down to one word: chemicals. You see, for about the last 50 years or so, agriculture has been absolutely hooked on synthetic chemical insecticides. And look, they worked. They were super effective, and they totally changed the game. They got so common that conventional farming basically just meant farming with chemicals. It just became the way things were done.
But yeah, this whole dependency thing, it came with a really heavy price. We started seeing serious environmental problems. And the pests, they're smart. They adapted. Through good old natural selection, they started building up resistance, which meant we had to keep inventing newer, stronger, and way more expensive chemicals just to keep up. We got stuck in this really dangerous and frankly unsustainable cycle.
So, for a long time, this chemical arms race felt like the only way forward. But here's the amazing part. It turns out, nature has had its own pest control systems for millions of years, and they're incredibly effective. We're only just now, really, learning how to tap into them. So, what's the big difference here? Well, it's pretty stark. Think of synthetic insecticides like a bomb. You drop it, and it just wipes out everything in a huge area: the good bugs, the bad bugs, all of them. Microbial insecticides, though, they're more like snipers. They use these naturally occurring pathogens, bacteria, viruses, fungi, that are precision engineered by nature to go after one specific pest. Everybody else is left totally unharmed. And the advantages here are just huge. I mean, these things are super effective, but because they're so targeted, they're totally safe for plants, for us, for animals. The pests haven't developed resistance to them, they're environmentally friendly, and they don't mess with the crop yield. It's really not just a better way, it's a smarter way. Okay, so now I want to introduce you to the undisputed champion of the bioinsecticide world. Its official name is Bacillus thuringiensis. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so let's just call it BT. Or, my personal favorite, its nickname, the Crystal Killer.
And get this isn't some brand new cutting-edge discovery. BT was actually first spotted way back in 1901 in Japan. But the real breakthrough didn't happen until 1970. That's when scientists finally figured out that the secret sauce wasn't the bacteria itself, but these amazing little microscopic crystals that it makes. Fast forward to today, and it is the most used bioinsecticide in the entire world.
And here they are. Take a look. Under a microscope, this is what you see. These are those deadly protein crystals. And each one is like a perfectly formed, totally harmless, for now, microscopic time bomb. It's just sitting there, waiting for the right insect to come along and eat it. So this is the really critical part to understand. The bacterium, BT, it creates this special crystal protein. And this protein is completely harmless to pretty much everything, until it gets eaten by a very specific kind of insect. Only then, that's when the magic happens. It transforms into a lethal toxin. Okay. Now, this is where it gets really, really clever. There aren't just one or two types of BT. There are thousands of different strains, and each one makes a protein that targets a totally different group of insects. So, for example, you've got the Christaki strain. That one goes after moths and butterflies. Then there's Israelensis. That one is a nightmare for mosquitoes and flies. And the Tenebrioni strain? It's all about beetles. It's literally like having a different key for every single lock. So you see, it doesn't matter if your problem is a caterpillar just destroying your beautiful tomato plants or a beetle that's tearing through a whole field of potatoes. There's a specific, tailor-made strain of this bacteria ready to go, and it'll solve the problem without any of that collateral damage. All right, so how exactly does a harmless little crystal turn into a deadly weapon? Well, the process is absolutely fascinating, and for the insect, it is, quite literally, a gut-wrenching story. It all goes down in 3 main steps. Okay, step 1, the bug eats the crystal. Simple enough. Now, step 2 is where the action is. Inside the insect's gut, the chemistry is really unique. It's super alkaline, the total opposite of our acidic stomachs. That special environment dissolves the crystal. Then, the insect's own digestive enzymes go to work, cut up the protein, and boom, you've got an active toxin. Step 3, attack. This newly activated toxin finds these perfect little docking stations on the gut wall, receptors that only that specific insect has, and it just starts punching holes in the cells. And here's the final blow, right down at the cellular level. The toxin creates this channel, like a tiny tunnel, right through the cell wall. All the important stuff inside the cell starts leaking out, and the cell just bursts. Once its gut cells are destroyed, the insect's digestive system is paralyzed. It can't eat anymore, and it dies. It's just an incredibly precise and brutally effective system. But bacteria aren't the only players in this game. Nature's got a whole arsenal of microscopic assassins. We're talking about a whole brigade of viruses and fungi, and they've all come up with their own crazy ways to take out insect pests. So let's take a look at 2 other types of these natural killers. Over on the left, you're seeing a baculovirus. It's this rod-shaped virus that is just a complete nightmare for caterpillars. And on the right, those are the little tendrils of an insect-killing fungus, and it uses a totally different but just as deadly method of attack. And honestly, the way these things work is straight out of a horror movie. The baculoviruses, they basically hijack a caterpillar's cells and turn it into a little virus factory until its body literally melts, liquefies to spread the virus everywhere. The fungi, they're even crazier. They don't even need to be eaten. Their spores just land on a bug, they sprout like a tiny seed, and then they physically burrow through the insect's exoskeleton to grow and kill it from the inside. Wild, right? So what does all this mean for the future of farming? Well, let's be clear. This isn't just some little trick for backyard organic gardeners. No, this is a seriously powerful and scalable technology. And the tech is only getting better. Scientists can now use genetic engineering to find the exact genes that make these toxins. And then they can tweak them, supercharge them to make more toxin or even make them more powerful against certain pests. We're basically learning how to upgrade nature's own toolkit. And that brings us right back to that big question we started with. We've got a growing population to feed, all on a planet with limited resources. That old way of just relying on an endless cycle of chemicals, that's looking less and less like a good long-term plan. So could these tiny, specialized natural assassins be the key? Could this be how we protect our food supply without wrecking our planet? I think that's a future that's absolutely worth fighting for.